It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday here, my dudes, and we are back here live on 12 on Sports. It is Randall and I back here as the duo for a lot going on.
We've been on together in 3 weeks.
I was to say, yeah, it was you and Jalen. I let you guys some reason run the show, and
that went great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Didn't burn it to the ground, and then Chevy and I took over last week to just roll it into back to the duo.
Yep. So, back to the old school.
Back to the old school. Well, we are here. We got a lot to cover, and I know I always say, oh yeah, we're just going to do a little bit on college football. We'll spend a lot on NFL. Nah, I'm not even going to say that. We are diving into these terrible rankings.
Yeah.
Terrible rankings. That is for sure happening here. So we will get to that. And of course, we will still do around our usual around the NFL. But first, as we have been in the past, it is time. And as I said last week, we were either going to be having our show in the middle of Game 7, or the World Series was wrapped up. And you know what happened?
It's over.
It's over.
It's ball game, folks.
That is correct. Braves win the series 4-2 after a 7-0 victory last night. Just domination, and the Braves they weren't above 500 until I believe it was August. They'd always been kind of just under because they were just always dealing with some sort of injury. I mean, July they lost Acuna Jr., which was a huge blow. They made some trades. I mean, their whole outfield was from trades, and it's like, well, do you really keep trying? You're not out of it, I guess, but you lost one of your best players. They had lost other injuries. And, nope, they still kept trying, and they got hot at the right time at the end. And, I mean, they were already a team everyone had been picking to make the playoffs. So, I mean, the talent was there. The 88 wins is just slightly deceiving because of what they went through all year. But they won the division, and then they got rolling, and they started showing you what the Braves team was all about. And they handled everyone they faced pretty well. I mean, I don't think I really was thinking they were slipping. It was like, can they keep doing it? Yeah, they took care of the Brewers easily, 3-1. 6 games versus the Dodgers, but I mean, it never really, there was a couple, I don't want to say blowouts in that series, but I mean, the Braves just always kind of hung around. And then, game 1, Charlie Morton's pitching well, and then he gets hit by that line drive, and then you find out, he faced 3 more batters, but he actually had a fracture in his leg. You're like, ooh, that's a huge blow. Nope, they saw great pitching, and all their acquisitions before the trade deadline were playing great in the playoffs. You, of course, have last year's MVP Freddie Freeman playing great, Austin Riley getting hot, Dansby Swanson making up for some of his errors in the series. Just it was a complete performance, and honestly, I never had a doubt that they were going to. After Game 3, I was like, nah, this is over. Braves got it.
Yeah. What was your prediction at the beginning of the season again?
Yeah. Beginning of the season, I
know
the
Padres right?
over White Sox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it is what it is.
I picked the Braves to make the playoffs.
There you go. Well, at least you did that.
Yeah. So, good for the Braves. And you know what? This rolls into our college football talk a little bit, but they broke the Atlanta curse. They broke the state of Georgia curse, and you know what? Our preseason pick of the Georgia Bulldogs winning the national championships I'm feeling a little better. They don't
Yeah, maybe
have to
that
be the
opens the
team,
floodgates.
right?
We get a Georgia national championship, a
The Hawks go to.
Hawks NBA championship, maybe. Nah, but not yet. They're on their way though.
Yeah.
But yeah, despite what I'm sure we're about to get into with the college football playoff rankings, it is set up nicely where I still feel good about the potential of my picks.
Yeah.
Feel good about the potential of them.
I do as well. The only one is obviously that Clemson one, and that one's done, and I've forgotten about it and thrown it away.
I still have a shot at all four. I mean, Cincinnati would have to do some things, but well, I guess really not Cincinnati having to do some things, more some other teams having to make some mistakes. But Cincy, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State still firmly in there and got a shot. So I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'll get more into that. We'll look back on last week first. I guess on the Cincy. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the committee is very whatever we can do to keep out a group of five. But yeah, well, let's just look at last week, and one of those being, well, Cincinnati struggled with Tulane for a while, and Tulane's 1-7.
Yeah, but Tulane has given other teams that are in the top 10 trouble. I don't know. Tulane's a deceptive one win team, obviously.
Yeah, they put up points. They have on OU, on Ole Miss a little bit, even a little on SMU. I mean, the other two, Ole Miss and SMU, they weren't really close, but they had put some points up. We obviously have Wisconsin once again showing Iowa's flaws. Wisconsin's not even that good. I don't think they should have got ranked. That's besides the point. We'll get to the rankings, but you're seeing the Iowa, if they aren't forcing turnovers, they aren't that good of an offense. You have the ACC. Is the ACC the new Pac-12 where they're just going to beat each other up and ruin any chance they have?
Yes, they are.
Because we have Miami beat Pitt. And Pitt, other than that terrible fluky loss for Central Michigan, they were starting to look pretty good. I mean, I guess because you had Kenny Pickett throwing for 500 yards, but then he throws a bad late pick, but they have no run game. But, just kind of odd there. You have West Virginia upsetting Iowa State, which Chevy did call last week on the show. He just said he had a weird feeling that he could just see West Virginia winning that game.
Yeah, West Virginia's weird, man, where, like, some days they play like West Virginia should, and we all thought they would at the beginning of the season. Obviously, this is post them not having the quarterback that they necessarily wanted, but, I don't know. They're a weird team where they can just, like, randomly show up. Same with LSU, where they'll just, like, randomly show up for a game. I had called that LSU win against, was that Ole Miss or Mississippi State a few weeks ago, where it was like, they played horrible last week, they'll play good this week.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of the same with West Virginia there.
No, that's fair. Yeah. They're all over the place sometimes. You see it, sometimes you don't. We obviously have Georgia taking care of business against Florida. The nice 7 points in that game. You have the game that got Gary Patterson fired in Kansas State TCU. You have Auburn took care of Ole Miss, which, I mean, you could just see the Ole Miss injuries, really started to have an effect on that game. But credit to Auburn. They played well, and they got the win. And then you had Mississippi State decides to show up every once in a while and beats Kentucky. I think that's once again another kind of showing of like, Kentucky was good, but started to get a little too on the hype train. And that's why I was at the beginning saying, like, let's just put them up there. And if they're frauds like people say they are, it's going to get exposed, and I'm not worried about dropping them down. That's what the point is. If you're winning, you should get bumped up. You have a 100-yard kick return for Houston to defeat SMU. And, I know people were saying, oh, that's going to hurt Cincinnati. But I actually started to think that might help them in the sense that Houston and SMU are now both one-loss teams. They don't play Houston in the regular season. So they get to play a one-loss SMU and hope that, of course, SMU doesn't lose other than losing to Cincinnati. Then Houston wins out, and then you have a one-loss Houston team in the championship game. So you're not playing SMU twice. You're playing two teams at the time with one loss. So I don't know if that's what you think could be better for them, but I kind of started to lean that way.
Yeah, it depends because when do they play SMU? Last week of the season?
Well,
2 weeks from now?
Let me check, but I don't think it's the last week.
So I think it'll depend on if SMU can put up points, like some legitimate points the next few weeks, and maybe somehow sneak back into that top 25. I think they really want to be playing SMU as a top 25 team. And then obviously Houston would be in the top 25 as well when they got to play them. I think that would be the most opportune thing for them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's also
which SMU is in the AP, but I think
they both are
in the AP, right?
They are both technically in the AP, but yeah, I mean that kind of goes into the rankings being terrible, and my group of five, anti-group of five, is both not in the playoff committee.
I am forgetting. So starting, like, obviously this being the first football playoff rankings, starting like this Saturday when Alabama plays on ABC or whatever they play on, will it say number 2 next to their name or number 3?
It should, because they've already started to reflect it on the app.
Okay, so
because I was looking at SMU, and obviously they're ranked in the AP poll, but they aren't now showing up as looking at the rest of the year, and it is the 20th that they play, so not the last game of the year. So they are basically switching over to the playoff rankings. Will now be what you see. I guess really the last couple notes I had was just you had BYU and Virginia in an absolute shootout of over 100 points. BYU, I think, should get more credit than they. I mean, I guess I will give the playoff committee that. They've given them, I think, a proper ranking. Ohio State and Penn State staying a lot closer than I thought. I feel like that's more on Ohio State than Penn State, that they let them stay that close in the game.
Yeah.
And then I think we both just have to address the other games. Kenneth Walker deserves the Heisman.
Rough, man.
5 touchdowns, 197 yards. Literally did everything else. Took care of their good receivers, but didn't throw for much. We were moving the ball on offense. I don't also understand people mad at why'd you put J.J. McCarthy in the fumble? You should just leave the hot hand. That's been Michigan's offense all year, though, is putting him in to run the read option to open up more running because he can run as a quarterback. It was literally the game plan. It wasn't anything new. If you've watched Michigan all year, they've used him a lot in that situation because when Cade runs that, no one's going to bet he's holding it. So, it's part of the offense. It opens up more of what Haskins and Corum has done all year because when JJ comes in, it changes how defenses approach him. So, it did make a lot. I don't get people upset about that play. He fumbled it like a bad exchange. That's not like he was doing something stupid, He didn't throw a bad pick. He didn't force something in. It was a bad exchange. It shouldn't have happened, but it was also raining most of the rest of the second half of the game. So, not saying that's an excuse, but, it was part of the game plan. I don't understand, why people were upset that he was in. It was a common part of Michigan's offense.
Yeah.
I'm still upset. Fair. I'm still not over the overtime.
Entirety of the game?
Oh, the entirety of the game, yes. I'm still not over that. I'm still not over them overturning that fumble, which they had no clear evidence to overturn the fumble. I think there was actually clear evidence still that he did fumble it, because one angle showed him basically the ball was out of his hand and it was like just sitting on his arm and he didn't have control.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm still upset. I think that was a clear fumble. I don't think you could have overturned it, especially if the call on the field was fumble.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's what it is. Really, really unfortunate that it's another loss to Michigan State for Michigan and for Harbaugh, because then it's just can't beat the rivals. Have to go through that whole conversation all over again. So that's all I have to say on that, and I don't know if you really want to say anything on the Texas Baylor game, but I'll let you have the floor.
I mean, hats off to Baylor. They shut down the key part of our game in Bijan. He couldn't get loose on anything. I would say that they weren't necessarily destroying us at the point of attack or anything like that in the trenches. It was more that they were just swarming to the ball and wrapping up really well, which is what teams have not been able to do with Bijan. He's been able to break loose on a lot of those, and they were able to stop that kind of yards after touch. What is it? Yards after? Why am I blanking on it?
Contact.
Oh, Lord, contact. Jesus. Yes. Yards after contact, they were kind of able to limit there, and I think that hurt us quite a bit. Still don't necessarily. Casey missed a lot of. Casey Thompson, the quarterback, missed a lot of open touchdown plays that he should have hit, and then he hit on some where our receivers just dropped it. So, third straight game with a lead. I believe going into the fourth quarter and lost it. A lot of people. I've heard a lot of people already down on Sark, and I think that's unfair. Our own friend of the show and constant guest, Caleb Brooks, actually said that he thinks he would rather have just stayed with Herman, which was a shocking thing for me to hear, and we got in a massive argument about that. But I think more what's likely whenever you have a situation where we have so many come behind losses where we're ahead and we lose, blow the lead, is I think we have a real depth issue on the defensive side of the ball. We are not very deep, where these first three quarters we play really good defense, or at least pretty good enough defense, I will say. And then once the starters get tired and we're having to mix in and out and they're tired and, second string comes in, third string, to give breathers and stuff like that, that's when we start to lose leads. And I think it's a real depth issue. To say it's a motivation issue, I think is unfair, because if you are at the University of Texas playing on a Saturday and you're not motivated, you shouldn't be there. And I don't think there's a lot of people that probably aren't motivated to play for the University of Texas. I would imagine there's not a lot of unmotivated Division I Power 5 players in general. That's just, at that point, it doesn't seem like motivation is going to be a whole team issue. So I think we've got a little bit of depth issue on the defensive side of the ball, and the fact that we haven't quite found a quarterback yet. So I'm still, we've lost 3 games that we lost to teams that were just straight better than us. Arkansas is a better team than us. Oklahoma is a better team than us. Baylor is most likely a better team than us. The only game that's honestly really disappointing was the TCU game. Outside of that, I would say we've lost to teams that are better than us. Obviously, would have liked to lost a little bit differently to Arkansas, at least make it closer, but I am not completely down on this team. I'm still optimistic for the future, Dom.
All right. Well, let you hand it in 2 ways. Do we want to go into the rankings now, or do you want to talk about Monkeygate?
I think I'd rather talk about the rankings.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go into the
I
rankings.
wasn't even going to bring that up in hopes that you weren't going to bring that
I
up.
was 100% bringing that
If you
up.
haven't noticed, I haven't responded to a single one of y'all's texts about this situation.
I realize that.
I am ignoring this the best that I can.
Oh.
I'm not even completely up with it because I read like the first two sentences of the tweet that y'all like sent me, and I was like, I don't want to know any more about this. I'm done. I'm done with this already. My understanding is he is dating did he leave his wife for a exotic dancer, if you will?
Yes.
Okay, and she has a monkey?
She does, an emotional support monkey.
Okay, and this monkey bit someone on Halloween?
Yes. So as the story, we are going into it then. The girlfriend, as you can name her, Jeff Banks, the special teams assistant coach, who also was apparently in the running for the Washington State gig. Interesting to see how that will go. Username Pole Assassin.
What'd you say her name was?
She goes by Pole Assassin.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Anyways, so they had like a haunted house in their backyard.
Okay.
And that's where the kids were allowed to go, and then there was a certain point they were supposed to turn around. Apparently she gave a whole video tour. It was one of the ones, and I think it's now deleted, so you missed that. But she gave a whole tour of like where the haunted house was. And to be fair, there was a gate that said turn around. And then they walked and showed you like there was like 2 more gates you had to go to then get to the monkey enclosure where then the child was apparently bit. So the kid did go well past where he was supposed to and went through multiple gates to get to a monkey in the cage that then apparently bit him. And as she said, though, it wasn't as dramatic as it was made sound. So I guess it depends who you believe.
This is
Miss Assassin or the random Aggie fan who did bring it to light.
So this is one of those weird stories that's like really like at the end of the day it's really not a big deal.
Right.
Like it's like whatever, like, but also it like is because it's so weird and it's so funny that it happened in Texas. Like of course it's Texas.
Yeah. So we'll move on, but just saying, just had to bring it up. So
can I start this college football playoff rankings with just a general question for you?
Okay.
Out of the many mistakes that were made, what is the most glaring mistake they made to you? Like, what single team is most misplaced? Because I have one in my mind that I'm staring at, and I feel like
Alabama
it's the same
2.
one. Really?
They absolutely do not deserve to be 2.
Okay.
They are ranked 2 because their name is Alabama. Tell me the quality of opponents other than Ole Miss, and then what? Because apparently all they do is care about wins. They don't care about losses, as you see with Mississippi State being 3.
Yeah.
You have Minnesota. I mean, I don't think Minnesota being in the top 25 is wrong, but then what is Wisconsin's win other than Iowa? They have 3 losses. They claim that wins are what matters, but okay, then rank me Alabama's quality wins. Ole Miss is a ranked team. Then who?
Right.
Florida's not good this year. What's the next? They have a quality loss? They beat Miami. Congrats. Miami's 4-4.
Yeah.
Where's these quality wins that you're telling me Alabama has that they being a 1-loss team, and they lost that game, deserves to be over multiple undefeated teams?
Yeah, because they didn't play Auburn, right?
They have not. That will be the last game of the year.
Okay. Yeah, of course it is. That's always the last game. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, but the most glaring thing to me, and I'm kind of going opposite of into where you're going, someone's too high, I'm going someone's too low, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and it pains me to say this, but how do you put Oklahoma at 8?
Did you hear apparently Herb Street was all over saying that was deserved because they haven't beat anyone that like they should, and their quality wins aren't there either.
They
So-
haven't beat anyone like they should, but now they have. It's very clear that they're a different team than 3 weeks ago.
Oh, and I agree. I mean, I was just playing more devil's advocate on that. I agree.
Yeah.
I think they should be higher because if you're playing that same game that they're 8 because they haven't won like they should, then why is Alabama 2 when they've lost though?
Right.
If
right.
Alabama should be winning like they should, they shouldn't have lost to A&M.
Like I'm curious, and no offense to your team, but like, do you think y'all could beat Oklahoma?
Potentially.
I don't think so.
In the right situation, yes.
Well, maybe in the snow.
I would give them like I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, we beat them 7 out of 10 times. I'd say we beat them 3 out of 10 times. Line us up. I would give
say
us a
you
high
beat them
percentage.
like 1 out of 8.
I want to give us a high percentage. I absolutely was shocked that we're 7. I didn't think we should be 7. I think
I don't think y'all deserve 7.
I think I put them. If I'm correct, yeah, I have my own. I had Michigan 9.
Can we do a little game real quick? Not
Sure.
a game, but a practice, if you will. Could you rank me your, like, if you were the college football playoff ranking, could you rank me your top 5, please?
I went Georgia, Oklahoma.
Okay.
I care that you win. Georgia, like I said, if you're a bad team, you will lose. You're undefeated. Oklahoma's 9-0. They're only 9-0. So I had Georgia, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had. Georgia, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Cincy, and then I would go Ohio State, then Bama.
You're not. I have Bama as my 6. Ohio State's actually my 7. The only reason why they're 5 is once again, if they win out, do they not deserve to be in? I have Wake Forest 5. I can't put them in 4, but
who do they have left?
that's the thing. The ACC is just beating each other up. But can you? I'll read off their schedule here in a second.
Low-key,
but
if
they win out,
if they win out, the last 4 of their seat, like these last 4 games, is the most impressive wins that they'll have. They go at UNC this week, then North Carolina State, then Clemson, then BC.
Yeah, and then they'll play someone in
they.
Yeah. Well,
So
also fun fact. So it'd probably
Who
be
they
Pitt. They probably play Pitt because they're leading the Coastal right now.
Yeah.
As long as Pitt wins out there. But fun fact, I didn't know this until I heard this the other day. This game versus North Carolina was for some reason, I don't remember why, but agreed upon that it's not a conference game.
I'm sorry?
They somehow have an agreement that they're like doing like a home and home, not a conference game.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So, are you sure? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Why
8.
Wake Forest and North Carolina does not count?
Yeah,
In
that would make
2015
sense because you've got 6 in your division. You play each of you in your division, and then you get 2 outside of the division, right?
In 2015, they agreed to a future
God.
2-game non-conference series during the 19 and 21 season that would be played outside the ACC scope.
Why would they?
A way to get around the league's scheduling limitation as in-state rivals. Long-standing traditional rivals are no longer played as often as they used to be within the ACC 8-game slate. This was a way to ensure they'd be scheduled regardless of what the league did.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
No, I had no clue Wake Forest was in North Carolina. I had no clue.
That's fair.
I knew they were somewhere around there, but I had no clue they were in North Carolina. Did not know that. Okay, I guess they're rivals. I mean, I would think of them more of rivals in basketball because Wake Forest usually is a pretty good team, and obviously North Carolina is always good. Huh. Okay.
So
that
they
is the
could lose
strangest
this
thing I've
game
ever heard.
and make the ACC championship till. Now, however, if they lose this game, I think then that immediately ruins any chance they have. I think the ACC has to have Wake Forest win out to be in. They're not getting in any other way.
That's such a crazy. I'm so stuck on this now. That's such a weird thing to do. That's like Bama and
In Auburn,
Bama
not
and
in
Auburn.
yeah,
No,
not in
Auburn,
SEC.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Auburn.
Bama and Auburn not
Yeah.
playing and counting in the SEC though.
Well, no, it'd be more like Bama and Georgia making one because they like this year if Bama and Georgia decided instead of Bama playing New Mexico State on November 13th, they played Georgia, and we're like, but it doesn't count towards conference. That's so weird. That's
Right.
such a strange thing to do. But all right, but yeah, that's interesting. Like, if Wake Forest wins out, do they end up in the top four?
They have to. If they're an undefeated Power for five, they have to be in, right?
Can you imagine the ungodly beating Georgia would unleash on them in that first round?
Absolutely. But what precedent could you say that, like, too bad you won all your games, you won a Power 5
Yeah,
conference
'cause
champion,
then
and
you
we're
literally-
not putting you in because Alabama has 2 losses and they're Alabama.
And didn't Clemson lose a game last year?
Yeah.
So your response is Wake Forest would be like, but Clemson lost a game and came out of our conference last year, and we didn't lose a game. Do we not? Like, that's their argument, and it's a valid argument. Like, yikes. Man, the thing that makes me so mad and sad about this is it is really set up for Cincy to not get in.
Oh, I told you. They're not going to let them in. They're going to give them all the, we considered them, and they're going to keep them at 6 for the longest
They'll play
time.
like in the Rose Bowl or something
they're
like
going
that.
they're going to let them hang there, and they're not going to put them in. Why do you think SMU and Houston aren't in the top 25? Now they can't get top 25 wins.
Yeah. Also, just the utter disrespect of not putting UTSA in there at all.
Exactly, and they call them USTA on the call.
Did they really?
Or on the interview. Yeah, they call them USTA.
No.
They're like, oh yeah, we really consider
7-2 Fresno State in there.
They talked about how they like really considered USTA, and there was a lot of talks about them. I was like, you can't even rank them, and you put 2 3-loss teams in there.
Insanity, man.
Mississippi State made it in, and great, they beat Kentucky and NC State, but they lost 3 times, and they had to put them at 17 because they got to put them higher head to head. No, you're 5-3. We don't need 3-loss teams in right now. Get them in Wisconsin out of there and give me UTSA, not USTA. Give me SMU and kick out
Pitt.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, out Pitt.
Pitt's best win is against Clemson, I guess.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, kick out Pitt and then give me Houston. Put those 3 in and kick out Pitt, Wisconsin, Mississippi State. I'll give Fresno State. I'm actually surprised they kept Fresno or San Diego State. I thought they'd kick them out. I thought San Diego State's been playing pretty good, and they lost to Fresno State. But San Diego State does have 2 Power 5 wins, I think. They have 1 at least in Utah.
Yeah.
Also, I think I've said this a million times. I'm going to keep saying it, is BYU, Pac-12 needs to put BYU in the conference championship versus Oregon, because BYU is 4-0 versus the Pac-12 and will probably be 5-0 after they play USC and will be the second best Pac-12 team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I think BYU should be the second or the best 2-loss team, but they're not going to do that. They had to put it as someone says, the highest 0-loss, 1-loss, 2-loss, and 3-loss team are all SEC teams.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. The whole thing, the only way, I'm trying to just picture a way Cincinnati can make it in here.
There isn't.
I really don't think there is. I mean, you would literally have to have, Bama would have to lose again.
Bama would need to lose versus Auburn and then lose in the conference championship, so there's no way they're going to put a 3-loss team in.
Michigan State would have to lose
twice,
twice, and in the conference champion.
Well, they would.
Oregon would need to lose twice. Ohio State would need to lose.
They would need Ohio State to beat Michigan State. Michigan State take another loss somewhere, like Penn State.
Yeah.
And then Ohio State lose in the conference championship to Minnesota. Well, Need Minnesota to take another loss, or somehow like Wisconsin make it and be a 3-loss conference winner, and then Ohio State loses with 2 losses. You need Oregon to take another loss. You need Wake Forest to have a loss or two, and then maybe you can get in. Because at this point, though, if they win out, they can't. The one positive is even if Notre Dame wins out, they can't justify putting Notre Dame in over Cincinnati.
You know what this is? This is starting to get to the point where it's actually worse than the BCS to me.
Right.
Because at least in the BCS, I was like, well, I know Cincinnati's not going to have a chance, so why even worry about it? Now I'm sitting here like, maybe?
Now they get them. Now they make up stats to tell you why they decided not to put a team.
Yeah, and now they get with 4 teams that give them hope.
Right.
They're like, let me give you hope so that I can then crush it.
Yep.
Bastards.
Because honestly, they've left the window open for the Big 12 champs because Oklahoma and Baylor are sitting right there at 11 and 12.
And Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State at 11, Baylor 12, Oklahoma 8. So
I mean, we know that's not going to happen because they can't beat OU. They never will.
Right, but they have set it up to that winner now because they could get some quality wins and push themselves up. So they've opened that up for them.
Well, and not to mention any of these like 2-loss SEC teams that like, what if they just randomly went on a run? Right, like if Kentucky just randomly won out and then won the like SEC championship, or
I would say Auburn. I would say Auburn
like,
and A&M have that chance because they play each other this week.
Kentucky's in the same conference,
so that one's over.
Or division.
But Auburn and A&M, they could win it out.
Yeah.
A&M has a tiebreaker now on Bama if Bama slips up again. Or Auburn has the perfect way because you beat A&M, you take care of them, and you play Alabama in the last game. Auburn could make the SEC championship by winning out. Straight up, they just have to win out. They're in.
Oh, and with A&M, can you imagine like the darling that A&M would be if they won out, somehow beat Georgia in the conference championship in their 2 wins, like 2 major wins against Georgia? Yeah. Oh, they might be ranked number 1.
They would put them in. Oh yeah, they probably would. They probably put them over multiple undefeated teams.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that would be the worst. I'd probably quit everything, my job, this podcast, everything. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah. It's, gosh, I couldn't even imagine that. To think of that idea, which honestly isn't that crazy to think, honestly.
Yeah.
It really isn't that crazy. Well,
let's get to these picks.
Well, I'll throw mine from last week. I don't know if you saw my picks I posted out there.
I did not.
I'm a little upset on my lock of the week. I picked Florida State plus 10, and it was a push. Because did you see the last play of the game?
I did.
That cost me my pick.
You picked it at 10. It had gotten to 9.5.
That's fair, but I did get it at 10.
And most people lost money.
That's fair. That's fair. It was an ultimate bad beat of bad beats. But I'm still so mad because I went 5-4-1, and that was my lock of the week, and it pushed.
Fair.
So Friday night, I had Navy straight up win, and I took them plus 11. I stupidly picked Pitt to cover the 9. Mentioned the Florida State plus 10 push. I asked for Wake Forest to cover to 16.5, and they did. UTEP plus 11.5 at FAU hit. Ole Miss plus 3 did not. SMU plus 1 did not. Boise State minus 2.5 did. Notre Dame minus 3.5 did. And UCLA plus 6.5 did not. So that put me at 5-4-1 from last week. Put me at 46-42-2 now for the year with a 4-4-1 lock of the week. That's why I'm more mad. I'm literally just adding pushes. I could have been over 500, put my lock of the week back above 500, and I pushed because of a stupid play. So
at least you didn't lose real money.
I did not lose real money. You're correct. That would have been. I can't imagine those people that actually did.
Well, I didn't make any picks last week, but I took a look at them and just. I would have made some really bad picks.
So it was a good week off.
Yeah.
Well, I will throw mine out then for next week. I'm all aboard the Service Academy train this week. Going Army plus 2.5 versus Air Force. I think Army might. I know Army's not the better record, but I think Army can just straight up win this game. Also, it's at Globe Life Field in Arlington. They're playing it. Also, give me Navy plus. It just saw went up to 21 at Notre Dame. Give me Navy plus 21. I think they can lose by 2 touchdowns. They're a triple option. They're going to just run the clock out. So I'm going double service academies. Give me Wake Forest plus 2.5 at North Carolina for this non-conference game. I don't trust Mac Brown. I'm sorry we hyped you up, Mac Brown. I'm going to take the bounce back SMU minus 4.5 at Memphis. I think they'll play strong and win decisively. And we're going to take Michigan State minus 3 at Purdue. I think that Purdue win versus Iowa was more fluky and Iowa's offense not being good. I think Michigan State will carry it over. I will take UL Monroe plus 3.5 at Texas State because Texas State is bad. Straight up. Lock of the week, I'm going to take Baylor minus 6.5 at TCU because TCU is a mess, and I think Baylor can easily win by a touchdown there. I am going to take Oregon minus 7 at Washington, especially after the trash-talking Washington decided to somehow throw at Oregon, like Washington's in the position to trash-talk. I am still on the AAC. I'm going to go Houston minus 13 at USF. I think both SMU and Houston's going to show the committee why they should be ranked. And another team getting disrespected by the committee. Give me UTSA minus 11 at UTEP. They're going to show you the right letters to put in the top 25 next week.
Fair enough. I only had time to get 5, so I'm sorry about that. But my 5 is I will take Ohio State minus 15 versus Nebraska. I think that's going to be a killing. I will take Michigan State minus 3 versus Purdue. I will take Auburn plus 4.5 versus A&M. I will take my ride or dies all season, South Alabama, plus 4 versus Troy. And you know how I have that one rule, Dom, in gambling?
Yeah.
Well, this doesn't have anything. This has no actual money involved. And I feel like we got a bounce back game. I'll take Texas plus 6.5 versus Iowa State.
I almost did, but I decided to leave it alone. I didn't want to jinx it for you.
I probably just did that for us, but that's okay.
Fair enough. I think you guys can cover that.
I think we win that. I think we win it.
So, all right. Well, there you go. There's the picks out there. There's a lot of college football, and it is time to get on to NFL on the other side here. So we will hit the commercial break, and on the other side we will talk some National Football League, the last week of action, and our picks ahead. Stay tuned.
12-Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-Ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120OZ and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Right, we are back here on the other side, and it is some NFL talk here on this other side of the break. And of course, always use BetUS, the promo code 120OZ for the bonus deposit when you first start. And as we have said, we've been picking pretty good overall in the year. Got an over 500 record. Our NFL picks have been struggling a little lately, but overall still hitting.
A little. This past week, a little, Dom. We both went under 500 on our picks last week.
Well, yeah. Don't have to talk. Don't have to dwell on all the losses.
Well, we do, because I need to know what your overall record is now.
Well, we will get there when we get there.
Fair.
Yeah. So last week we have a quick rundown. We have the Packers with a depleted staff and Aaron Rodgers and his immunized self with the win over the Cardinals. With the AJ Green forgetting that it was a fade play, thinking I don't know what he's thinking. You had the Panthers and Falcons actually played a football game, if you remembered that. Bills took care of the Dolphins. It was a very low scoring game for a while. 49ers and Bears. Is that a scoregami? 33-22? Feels like it.
Feels like it.
We had the ultimate defensive shootout in Steelers-Browns because we also had a kicker get knocked out with a concussion thanks to a terrible fake field goal play. My most confident chance for the Lions to get a first win went so terribly wrong. The Titans and Colts wanted to show off who could blow the game worse with a left-handed Carson Wentz interception. But then he decides to throw another one in overtime to give the Titans that field goal. The Jets actually win with the Mike White magic, and Caleb is sure loving him some Mike White. Rams, that happened. Texans got a lot of garbage time points to say, look, we kind of got it closer than it was. The Chargers kind of disappointing me here. Some of these losses as the Patriots and MacTac get the win. Urban Meyers forgot that he's not in London anymore, and they did have to play another game. He was too busy seeing all of the Halloween costumes of himself out and about all throughout the country of him and the blonde at the bar. Broncos took this, as much as they tried to hand the game to the football team said, nah, we don't want it. So Broncos get the win. And then the two bigger games near the end, we had, of course, the Saints take care of business, even with Simeon and Cooper Rush. As I was asked, who's Cooper Rush? I said, oh no, I'm going to go blank exactly what I said. Oh yeah, he's a Disney movie star who's a go-kart driver who just wants to live his life in the fast lane.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that like an actual thing?
No,
what
I
is
just
that?
made that up.
Oh,
I sent
okay.
it to our friend Chase because he's in a group, and with him being a Cowboys fan, I was like, hey, did you see this? And then Cody, who has joined the show before, obviously, he's like, wait, who's a Cooper Rush? And that's what my response was.
And
then Monday Night Football did happen, as awful as the game was.
Well, let me tell you exactly who Cooper Rush is, Dom. He's the greatest redheaded quarterback of all time.
He overpassed Andy Dalton just in that one game.
Yes, he did. It was that easy. Yep.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you just hand it over to the Saints game because I think that was really the most interesting one of the day.
We beat Tom Brady without a quarterback.
You ate those W's.
We ate them W's. No, really sad. like that. That was such a bittersweet game because it was so clear before it was announced that was going to be a season-ending thing. Simeon came in. He played well. Looks like Taysom Hill's going to be back probably. So I imagine we'll go with him, even though I'd rather go with Simeon, to be completely honest with you. Mark Ingram was back. He played well. That was fun. It's good to have him back. Just kind of brought like an energy that we had been missing, I think, on the offensive side of the ball a little bit. At least before the injury. But found out today that Michael Thomas won't be coming back the entire season. He is done. So that hurts. We really need to be looking for a wide receiver. We should have been looking for a wide receiver beforehand, but I'm just going to say this now, and I hate to say it because I don't necessarily want this, but don't be shocked if we trade for Odell Beckham in the next few days.
Well, trade deadline's passed, so you're going to have to wait for him to get waived.
Oh, wait. Did it pass?
Tuesday at 3.
Oh, no. Well,
it's all right.
He's getting waived.
He's apparently not at
not even
practice
on the team, basically.
Yeah, and after
So-
his dad and him and Baker said, I don't have any problem with Odell, and he's never brought it to me, so maybe he should address it to me, not his dad.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if Odell came to us. You know, he's an LSU guy. We're New Orleans. We don't typically take LSU players for some reason, but it just seems like that's probably a really good shot. If not us, probably one of the teams that's competing that doesn't mind having that toxicity in their locker room. Just gonna throw that out there, but but no, kind of sucks because it looks like we're 5-2 right now, but I imagine we're gonna struggle for the rest of the year. So I was feeling good, 5-2, beat Brady, and defense is looking phenomenal right now, and then that happened. So
I mean,
just kind of
for the playoff picture, though, I mean, you have those top 5 teams, but like 2 more teams get to make it in, and you and Carolina are 6 and 7. Do you really think Carolina can really hold up?
It's not even that.
Minnesota?
I still think we can make. It's not that. I still think we can make the playoffs, but with Winston and the potential of Michael Thomas, this was before the potential of Michael Thomas coming back and the way this defense is shaping up, I felt like we actually were poised to make a little bit of noise. I really do. Like, our defense is that good. If anyone hasn't been watching them, I know we gave up 27, but towards the end we were not being able to move the ball on offense. So but this defense is so good that they keep us in games, and then AK and Mark being back and what Winston was starting to kind of get into, I really feel like we have, and obviously we have the best offensive line in the NFL. I in my mind, especially when we're healthy. So I felt like we actually had a shot to make a little bit of noise. I'm not saying NFC Championship or anything like that, but I really do think we could have won our wild card game and potentially won the next. But I don't know. Now it just looks like we are going to hopefully make a playoff spot and then probably lose in the first round. So it kind of sucks.
On the other side, the AFC.
But I guess I shouldn't complain too much because I'm talking to someone who's over. So
yeah, it's a season. On the other side, the AFC, no one wants to hold the first seed, as Baltimore had it, lost to Bengals. Bengals had it, lost to the Jets. Now the Tennessee Titans are your number 1 seed in the AFC currently.
I don't like the sound of that.
Tennessee Titans, then the Raiders are 2.
Raiders.
I guess at this point, bringing up the Raiders has to be said. What a complete moron and awful person Henry Ruggs had to have been.
Oh, I thought you were going to say me because I said that they could potentially be the worst team in the NFL.
Oh, no.
Bad take by me. But, yeah, I mean, it it's hard to. I disagree with what I'm sure you saw Kadarius Toney.
Right.
Obviously I disagree with him, but I do feel a little bit bad for him just because, I feel bad for him that he has to live with the thought of killing someone for the rest of his life. In no way am I condoning his actions or saying like, oh, it's not as bad. No, it is as bad, and like he made a horrible decision. I feel bad that he has to live with that, but he did that to himself.
Right.
And obviously I feel horrible for that person's family, but I mean, Jesus, man. 150?
Yeah.
Jesus. The fact that anyone is alive from that is
right. Him and his
astonishing.
girlfriend were, yeah.
astonishing. That because there's no telling how fast the other person was going to, or maybe I don't know, maybe they were stopped. I didn't read the whole thing, but like, I don't understand how anyone is alive from that at all.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, I still stand by the fact that, like, I know all of that adds up to something horrible, but if you remember the Dante Stallworth case, he hits a person. He didn't hit somebody else's car. He hit and killed a person and then drove off trying to get away from the scene. And if I recall, he dragged the person for a while. Yeah, if I'm remembering right. And he was gone for about 2 years and came back. I don't know what Henry Ruggs' priors look like, if he has priors, if he doesn't. If he doesn't have any priors, people get out for less than that, man. He might be he should be blackballed from the NFL. Like, he should not be coming back to the NFL after something like that. But the way the NFL is, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's changed since then. I don't think he'll be back.
I don't know, man. You're gonna look me in the eye and tell me that in 3 years, in 3 years, if I look at Jerry Jones dead in the eye and I can tell him that he can sign a probably 25-year-old kid, 26-year-old kid that runs like a 4.2 for like a minimum deal, he wouldn't do it. You don't think he'd do it?
I think I still don't really know.
I lean no, but like I wouldn't put it past him. I would not put that past him. Because we both agree. Like, Henry Ruggs is not going to jail for the rest of his life. That's not happening.
Yeah.
He's not. He is not actually going to serve that much jail time. He won't. Like, I've seen this. I've seen this happen. There's people I know that have done this act that were not in jail that long. They weren't, and they were not as rich as this guy.
Yeah.
Straight up, not as rich as this dude. And they were, obviously they weren't going like 150, but they were not in jail that long. So, anyways, we should probably move on.
Yeah. Well, then it is time for our pick'ems here, and I am sitting at a 74-48 record. Is that 2
76? Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, is that 2 games behind you?
Yep, 76-46.
All right. Well, let's see if I can make any up here. You get the first hand on Thursday night. Mike White and the Jets at Indianapolis.
I'll take Colts. I think he throws a duck this game.
Yeah, I can't bet on them. That's two wins in a row. I'm sorry, Caleb. No.
Yeah, no.
That's a Colts. Bengals and Browns. It is in Cincinnati. I'm going to keep riding my Browns train. They got to come through for me. I'm going Browns.
This one was hard for me. I ended up going Bengals.
I don't like that they both lost. That's what makes it hard.
Yeah, me neither.
We have Broncos at Cowboys. Dak should be back. Yeah, Cowboys. We have 1-7 versus 1-7. Texans at Dolphins.
I got Miami.
Yeah, I'll go Dolphins there too. We have the Falcons going to New Orleans. Do you think even with Hill or Simeon, you guys can beat the Falcons?
Yeah, I think our defensive line absolutely smokes their O-line at the point of attack.
Yeah, I went Falcons as well. So.
No, I'm going
Saints.
Saints.
Sorry, Saints as well. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That was not at all. Never was even a consideration for the Falcons. Sorry, Saints as well. Raiders at Giants. I am going to go Giants here. I think there's just too much going on in Vegas. They just got a lot going on. I think the Giants will pull their home win out.
I'm still going with the Raiders.
All right, there we go. There's maybe a game to make back or you to pull ahead. Patriots at Panthers. Sam Darnold is going about. Yeah, Sam Darnold's seen more ghost. He's playing the Patriots again. It's not going to be good. The Bills go to Jacksonville. How bad will this be?
They win by 24.
Yeah, I agree. Vikings at Ravens. If you can't beat Cooper Rush, I'm going to go with Baltimore.
Yeah, I'll go Baltimore. If you can't beat Cooper Rush.
Chargers at Eagles. I think we'll both be on the Chargers bounce back here.
Yeah, Chargers.
This is maybe where I might get you different. I'm going to go Jordan Love to beat the Chiefs.
Nah, I'll take the Chiefs.
I'm done picking the Chiefs in confidence.
I'm not going to pick Jordan Love.
Cardinals at 49ers. Bounce back Arizona win.
Agreed.
And as I foreshadowed, Titans at Rams. I am going Rams, so the Titans will be the next number 1 AFC team to lose and fall out of that spot.
Rams.
And Monday Night Football. What an awful game. Bears at Steelers. Is Matt Nagy still out with COVID? Because if he is, I'm definitely staying with my Bears pick because they actually let Justin Fields do some Justin Fields things and gave me a little bit of, hey, if they actually give him some of this offense, they could be interesting. So I'm actually going to go Bears and hope that they let Justin Fields actually play like he can.
I also picked the Bears. I think Fields is gonna have like a, hey guys, remember I'm still over here game. Like he's like, yeah, I can play, guys. Like I can do this.
All right. Well, there we go. We got a couple different ones. So you are either going to increase your lead or I might catch up. So we shall see here. So we'll be back next Wednesday, and it will be a full football show again, as we'll have some new awful rankings to talk about, some more great football action, NFL and college slate. So always follow us on Twitter. We Talk Sport Good, and we have our Instagram page. Don't forget We Talk Sports Good as well. I will always try to post my college picks out there on the Instagram page with some nice graphics. So follow that. So if you miss them or want them on a list, that is where they will be. We'll try to post some fun clips as well on the gram. So follow us on social media. Have a great rest of your night. Catch us next Wednesday.
Uh-huh.